Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nidus Anarchy series. I'm your host Adam, CIO and co-founder of Nidus, and today I want to talk about a ruling from the FTC that just outlawed non-competes. This is huge news because everyone's always said non-competes are unenforceable, but like who's really going to take it to court? And it is legal documents and you are signing this shit. So it's always been a pain because if you quit your job, most places will have you sign a non-compete that says you can't go then work for a direct competitor for X amount of years. Most of the time it's like for a year. Sometimes they'll even say for 5 years, depending on what your work was and how high up you are and how much money they're paying you. So non-competes have always been a bane on contractors, especially because if you're saying, hey, I'm working for this company, they're like, oh, well, you can't go work for a direct competitor of ours right after us because you could take our trade secrets, is what they're afraid of. So the FTC just came out and said all non-competes are illegal, not enforceable, which is different, right? Like not enforceable means you can make people sign it, but it doesn't mean anything. This law is actually saying what they're banning is saying that you can't even have someone sign a non-compete because doing that is actually illegal in itself. So that's even more awesome because that means they're not going to be able to, force you and pressure you with their, wall of lawyers versus whatever you have against these unenforceable non-competes. They're straight up illegal, so they will not be able to even force you to sign one of these things to take a job. Now, the big thing that's important about this, which everyone kind of glosses over, is that this is not in effect now. So keep in mind, don't quit your job and start working for your competitor if you have a non-compete because you're bound to it. So right now what they're saying is that this law will not go into effect until 120 days after the FTC publishes the new law. And that's assuming there's no other legal things that jump in the way that say, hey, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what the rules are, but like appealing to it and stuff like that. And they're saying that people are already doing that. So expect this thing to be delayed. But it's still a good sign saying that the FTC is going to do this. A lot of the lawyers are saying that the FTC doesn't even have the jurisdiction or the right to even implement this, but they're doing it anyway. So there's going to be a legal battle, but the big hurdle is won in the sense that they've published this. So if they publish this soon and we get to that 120 days and there's no further legal crap to involve, then at that point in time, all non-competes will be illegal and you can leave your company or, just quit, or when you're done working there as a contractor, you can go to a direct competitor and they can't do anything about it. And that's huge. Now, there are a couple exceptions which are important. One is if you are in a current senior executive level position at a company that creates policies for the company and you're under an existing non-compete, those will be grandfathered in. New senior level executives and whatever, they will not be allowed to be forced into a non-compete. Also, you have to have a salary of over $150,000 a year, or it's like $151,733 a year or something crazy. But I'm pretty sure if you're a senior level executive company, you're probably making that salary. So that's number one. And the second one is sale of businesses. So if you sell your company to another company and they have you sign a non-compete that you're not going to open up another company in direct competition with what they just bought, those are still enforceable as well. Now, what's interesting is what falls under this law as being negated are possibly NDAs. So what lawyers are saying is that this law is so broad that it actually encompasses NDAs, making NDAs unenforceable and almost like, I don't know if they're going to say it's illegal to sign like a non-compete is, but what they're saying is that the NDAs are going to be worth junk after this point. I mean, obviously they still kind of are to a point, but if NDAs are no longer a viable contract, that's going to be interesting because people are already extremely hesitant about signing or about like talking about their personal ideas and what their company is doing when they're trying to raise money or they're trying to hire people or whatever, and they want everyone to sign an NDA so they can talk openly and freely. And then this way they don't have to worry about, okay, this person is going to steal my stuff. I think it's pretty much common business practice everywhere that you sign a mutual NDA. We send out NDAs every time we talk to a new company or a new person about anything. It's like, hey, look, we have just like a packet on DocuSign. You hit the button and hey, here's our NDA and just some simple stuff. Go ahead and sign it. And as soon as that's signed, now we know we can both of us can share freely and openly about whatever it is we want, and we don't have to worry about any type of issues coming about. But unfortunately, this may negate that. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I really do like it more, though, that this non-compete thing gets banned, because I always thought that was stupid. It's like, hey, you just learned all these skills and built yourself up, and you got this stuff, and then let's say your company screws you, and you're like, man, this was useless. I want to leave. And it's like, oh, well, you can't go work for another let's say you're in a bank. Well, you can't go work for another bank now. It's like, what? It's like, that's all my experience for the last 10 years of my life is working for a bank. And now you're saying I can't go work for a bank for another year. It's like, what am I going to do for a year? So that goes out the window. So I think this is going to open up a lot more job possibilities for people. And I think it definitely opens up the playing field and makes it more of a fair market. So I'm actually in favor of this and pretty stoked that it's happening. So if you were stuck in that kind of non-compete thing, hold in there because it may not be valid much longer. Later. Hey everyone, you going to Identiverse this year, May 28th and 29th in Las Vegas? We're going to be there, and we're going to make it awesome. How? We're having a scavenger hunt, where you can win awesome prizes and cool fun stuff like an invite to our private party. The way that you're going to find it is find these little poker chips all over the convention, tap your phone to them, and that's how you're going to start the scavenger hunt. Lots of cool prizes, and not everyone's going to be able to make it. Hope you can do it. I'll see you guys there. Later.